Hello, Amber. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you feeling?
Fabulous, fabulous. Thank you so much for having me as well. Super excited to be here.
I'm proper excited that you're here. I've heard quite a lot about you from a lady that has been having some coaching with you and doing her human design with you. And the thing she's told me is very, very exciting. So I'm very excited for this one. Can I jump straight in with my questions?
Please do. Please do.
So, from what I understand, you are a coach. Is it specifically for women?
Yeah, so I mostly work with mums in business, although I say that this year I have worked with more men than I've ever worked with. I've had lots
Oh,
of
okay.
women who don't have children, so it just seems like it's expanding beyond what I ever
Yeah.
thought it would, but it's all perfect. So yeah.
Okay. So you work in human design. You
Yeah.
work in you work with mums that are entrepreneurial or helping them get there, and you do emotional mastery. So is that basically, as it sounds, like getting people to recognize their emotions and master how they would process them?
Yeah, so essentially, I think there are four core pillars to what I do. So I work with people. My primary focus is ensuring that the women that I work with build businesses that, first of all, they enjoy and they actually like to run, but also that are sustainable, meaning that their well-being is sustained, that they're financially sustained, obviously, but it's more about their energy and being able to continue long term, not just having quick wins and then burning out again. Like, I really want them to be able to build something that's energetically sustainable for them. And of course, emotions are a huge part of that because how we
Mhm.
feel affects how we behave, how we think, how we move, how we operate. And ultimately, if we are operating from a state of fear or depression or worry, we're increasing our cortisol levels, and all of that takes a toll on our physical well-being as well. So being able to identify not just this is what I'm feeling, but why I'm feeling that way, and also have a level of sovereignty and leadership over how you manage those emotions. So, one of the things, I'm going to go on a bit of a rabbit trail here, but with human design, we have one of our centers known as the emotional center. And the emotional center, for those people who have it defined, which is about 50% of the population, feel their emotions very, very strongly. They're not designed to make their decisions based on that emotional wave. So having awareness around their emotions and also knowing how to process them, move through them, and to lead themselves how they want to lead themselves helps them to come back to something that I'm sure we'll talk about later, which is their strategy and authority. We'll go there.
Okay. Okay. So that's a lot on its own.
Yes, it
So
is.
do you have to train in emotional mastery, then the human design, or does it all come under one?
It all comes together. And this is what I think. So what I when I started out as an emotional freedom tech uh, I was about to say technician, emotional freedom technique practitioner, so an EFT practitioner. And that's kind of where I
Yeah.
started. And that came about because I suffered with agoraphobia, so severe
Oh, did
anxiety,
you?
social anxiety for about 10 months after my eldest was born. And EFT was the thing that helped me to learn to look at my emotions, accept my emotions, process them, and all of those things. And so that's where I started, was with the emotional piece, I guess. Human design came a lot later on, about 3.5, almost 4 years ago now, I discovered human design. And that came about because people were coming to me for advice in their business. And then I was giving them, for some people, some of my clients were excelling, it was working for them, and others it wasn't. And I was a little bit like, I don't know why. I don't know what else I can do to help you. And then at the same time, I discovered human design, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's because you were never designed to work the way that I do. You were never designed to market in that way. You weren't designed to sell in this way. You weren't designed to even, for some of them, even do what they were actually doing in the way that they were doing it. So it was this huge shift for myself. It was a huge shift for my clients. In terms of you or anybody else that came to work with me or wanted to go down the rabbit trail of human design, what I really found was that human design is like the catch-all. It's a self-awareness tool. So it literally means that you could look at any facet. of your life, your business, through the lens of your human design. And so it all comes together. Like I mentioned about the emotional center, that's just one facet. We could look at your splenic center, which has everything to do with your intuition, which I know is right up your street, Stacey.
Yeah.
The splenic center for intuition and well-being. We can look at your sacral center for your creativity and your passion and your life force energy. So there's all of these parts to a human design chart that actually tap us into pretty much any problem that we're experiencing. And that's where it gets to be fun. So it all comes together.
So, what actually is human design then? What does it mean?
Okay, this is where it gets really juicy and why I get excited about human design, because human design
Right.
is a combination of ancient and modern sciences brought together. So we often get people that say, like, I believe in astrology, I believe in my star signs, but I don't believe in scientists. I'm not a big fan of research. Or we get people that say they follow the I Ching or the chakra systems or all of these things, and we get very stuck in the one thing that we appreciate, the one thing that we know and trust, and kind of discount everything else. Now, human design brings all of those systems together. So when you get a human design chart, um, you are essentially looking at your astrology, the I Ching, the Kabbalah, your biology, your chemistry, your physiology, psychology. We're looking at the genetic codons as one representation. So rather than discounting anything, we say, what if we take the best of it all, the best of everything that we've kind of discovered so far, and say, if we look at you as a whole energy body and a physical body and a spiritual body, what do we get? Who are you? And so your design chart, your chart is created based on a few things. First of all, the time, date, and place of your birth. So we need those things, a bit like if you were going to go for an astrological reading.
Yeah, your moon chart, what have you?
And then it also generates it's all on the same chart, but there's two parts to your chart. So we've got one side called the personality side, which is based on the things I just mentioned, and the other side, which is your design side. And that's based 3 months prior to your birth and the planetary alignment at that time as well.
Oh, is it?
So I don't know if that answered your question, Stacey. That was a lot of
That's
information.
exciting, isn't it? So we predetermine, excuse me, we predetermine then part of our design before we're even born.
Yes,
That's exciting.
very
See, I'm a
exciting.
believer that we pick our experiences, our families, our what we want to happen. I believe that we pick them before we come here.
Mm.
So if we pick 3 months before we're born, part of our design as the human person, that is very exciting, isn't it?
Is incredibly exciting. And so in the human design theory, the soul is incarnated. That's when the
Mm.
soul is incarnated into the body. And when we look at that from the science aspect of this, that's also when I'm not the best scientist in the world, but from my understanding, when the fetus, when the baby actually starts to develop its consciousness, so where
Yeah.
the subconscious is actually starting to restore memory and information. So when you think about the birth cycle, gestation cycle of a fetus in the womb, there is this point where it's now starting to form neurological connections. It can remember the sound of the voice of the mother. It can
Mm.
remember the things that it's hearing and experiencing inside the womb. I'm also an advanced hypnotherapist, and I did my hypnotherapy training before I discovered human design. And I always found it absolutely fascinating how that when we do regression therapy, we can actually go back to events that happened inside the womb that we can remember, and we can go back to past lives and beyond that as well. But I always found that piece very fascinating to think that we started forming a lot of our belief patterns right inside the womb.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible.
That's very interesting, isn't it?
Very, yeah. I
So with the human design,
I was just going to say that this is, for me, human design is like this forever ongoing journey. It's not something that you learn your design once and you get your chart and you're like, okay, well, my design type is a generator, and that means this.
yeah,
And
that's
then
what
you
I'm going
don't,
to ask. So how do we use it?
how do we use it? So Great question. Great question. Quite a broad question. So,
Sorry.
oh, no, that's okay. It just where to start. So, in human design, you have first and foremost 5 different design types. We've got our manifestors, our generators, our manifesting generators, our projectors, and our reflectors. Now, at the type level, all of our generators have a similar auric field and a way of processing energy, same for every other design type. However, no 2 projectors are the same, no 2 generators are the same, and this is where it gets really interesting. So once we go beyond the type level of your human design, we then look at something called what I mentioned earlier, which was strategy and authority. Now, the strategy and authority part of your design is how you were designed to make decisions in this lifetime, how you were designed to decide where you put your energy, your time, your attention, which path you're going to go on in this lifetime. And everybody has a different type, strategy, and authority. So this in itself creates this nuance of how am I going to be led through this life? How does my soul speak to me? How does it guide me? How does this body vessel of mine receive information from the outside world? How does it process it? And what does it do with it from there? Like, what am I designed to do with it from there? And then we go deeper. So beyond your type, strategy, and authority, we've then got your profile lines, we've got your defined centers, your undefined centers, we've got your gates, your channels, your lines. Like, there is so much information. The planets themselves and their influences. And so what we first want to do, the first thing for your human design is to actually start, what I say, accumulating knowledge, understanding what all the different aspects of your differentiation mean for you. Because there are no 2 charts that are exactly the same, with the exception of if you are a twin. Now, if you are a twin, you will
I've got
have
twins.
You've got twins. Oh,
I've got
Stacey.
twins.
Yes, I love this. I absolutely, it's one of my most fascinated areas, because a lot of people say, well, our charts are exactly the same, but we're different.
Yeah.
Of course you are, because you've lived through different conditioned experiences. Even 2 children growing up in the same house, witnessing the same events at the same time,
Yeah.
process them differently, have a different perspective on them. And actually, we can see in somebody's human design chart why they may have processed it in one way and how they could have processed it in a different way based on the same chart, the same information. So if we take, what's the center we haven't spoken about yet? The throat center.
Yeah.
So somebody with an undefined throat center, where we have, sorry, this is going to go in deep. I hope you're ready for me, Stacey.
I'm ready. I'm in. I'm all in. I'm ready now. I'm here.
But when we have a defined throat center, or any center in our chart defined, it means we have consistent ways of processing energy within that center and consistent access to it. Now, the throat center is the center of communication. It's the center of manifestation, and it's the center of self-expression. It's where we're designed to move from inner authority to our outer authority in the world to have impact. And so somebody with an undefined throat center does not have the same consistent way of expressing themselves, of communicating, or of manifesting things into reality. Where we are undefined, it's where we're receiving from the world. So where we're defined, it's ours, it's consistent. Where we're undefined, it's receivership, it's where we're taking stuff in. And so for the throat center, let's say there was a situation happening in the home, I don't know, something really small. It might have been an argument over the TV. Now, one of those individuals with an undefined throat center in that moment may have been receiving the energy from their parent who got involved. And their parent's communication, the parent wanted to communicate, just take it in turns. And that child has picked up and received that part of that communication. And that's what they put out through their throat center, because they're receiving this information, they're putting it back out there into the world, but it's going to be inconsistent. And so that may have what they express. We can take turns. Now, the other undefined throat center, exactly the same design, is also open, but what they're receiving may even be the communication of the sibling next to them who's saying, no, this is my time. I don't want to take turns. I want to have an hour. Really, that's what she really wanted to say. And so they're expressing that. So we can see that although you both have undefined throat centers, And bearing in mind, we're taking into account here that ajna, the way the mind processed that situation, perhaps the emotional center and the way that process, it's not just one center on its own. That
Yeah.
entire situation, your entire energy body is working. And so it just becomes very interesting to see how our potential for conditioning, even though the potential is the same, the way in which we may have been conditioned is different.
Yeah. You see, me and my sister obviously grew up in the same house and we had the same parents. But I remember when we grew up, or as we were growing up, me and dad were drinkers, but there were points where I were like, this isn't right, and this and that and other. And she were very much of, but I were very outspoken, and I still am very outspoken. And sometimes I need to try and pull it back a little bit, like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. It just came out. Sometimes it's out before I even know it's in my brain. But my sister were very much of, well, look, it's their house, can't, and wanted it to be all okay. Not that she were
Yeah.
like, not a pushover or like that. She didn't like the confrontation. She didn't like the speaking up and out about it, where I was quite happy to go, well, it's wrong. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's interesting. Like I said, that we both grew up in the same house, but we both have very different ideas of how our childhood was.
It's fascinating. Me and my brothers also have very, very, very different experiences, and there's age gaps between us as well. So you can think about we're experiencing the same thing, but we're also experiencing the same thing at different ages with a
Yeah,
bunch of different experiences behind us. That it just gets, and this is where the psychology comes in because it becomes really fascinating. I think what I like to remind people is that the idea of human design is not to get caught up in the conditioning, it's to be able to recognize the conditioning and also recognize that actually, when we have that conditioning behind us, we stop operating as who we were designed to be. We start operating as a result of who other people are or who they want us to be or what they expect us to be versus actually what we were given to bring to the collective, how we were here to contribute to the collective, and how we were here to help the collective continue to expand. Because that's what I believe we're all here for, is continued expansion and evolution. And so if we focus only on the conditioning, which can be tempting to do because we love to heal, we love to unpack things,
yeah,
we miss out on the magic of who we are. And so one of the things that I talk to people about, once you've gathered the knowledge, the understanding of who you were designed to be, it then becomes this kind of game. I like to play. I'm playful. So it becomes this game of self-awareness, of noticing where those energies are residing within you, and where they're not being allowed to be expressed. So I have a prime example of this. I have gate 62 in my conscious sun on my personality side of my chart. That sun planet represents our life's purpose. Now, just to be clear here, when we say purpose, that doesn't mean what you're going to do for a career. That doesn't mean what your work should be. Our life's purpose is what we give to, and what we give and what people receive in everything that we commit our energy to. So in every interaction, whatever you choose to do, your life's purpose is brought through in that endeavor. So it's who you be when you do what you do, not what you do. And so my life's purpose is gate 62, which is the gate of the scientist. Now, I'm not in the field of science, but you could say human design has a lot of science within it.
massive that. I mean, to be fair, I'm a little bit blown here, but yeah, go on.
And the scientist is somebody who absolutely loves to research, to see the connections between everything that is, and then helps to explain them. I'm a talker, so I'm here to explain in a way that most people would understand. One of my shadows of that is that I tend to over explain because I want to make sure you've got it. So I'll give it to you in this way and I'll give it to you in that way and
Yeah,
anchor in. And for some people, that can be overwhelming. I'm not here for everybody. I'm here for the person who needs that. I'm here for the person that needs the constant reminders or the different perspectives so that they can see it from all ways, shapes, and sides. Now, when I was a child, I absolutely loved to read. I loved to divulge information. I loved to research. I loved to write. I loved to share. And at the same time, I carried a lot of guilt and shame and fear around that. So you'd find me bunking off school. Oh, yes, I did. I'd wait until mum had gone to work and then I'd hide under my covers and I'd have my book and I would sit and read for hours because my family didn't read. They weren't readers. Not that they had anything against reading, but it wasn't something that anybody else did. And there was some level of, I don't know, this isn't a thing that we do around that. And at the same time, I was dyslexic. So reading for me, I'd have to go back and read. Like I'd read a sentence, realize I've skipped three, and then have to go back and figure out what I've missed. And
Yeah.
it was a long process. And I didn't know I was dyslexic. So there was a lot of shame around reading speed in classrooms, like at school, because
Yeah. I get
I was
that.
slower than everybody else. Um, and felt like I needed to reread things so many times to understand them. But I
Mm.
enjoyed the process, but it was embarrassing. So there was a lot of conditioning around, I can't really be seen in this. Sometimes I feel like I don't know enough. This is another kind of shadow side, feeling like there's never enough information. I always need more. I always need more. And that made
Mm.
me, this is where my social anxiety came from a lot of the time. What if maybe I shouldn't say that because what if it's not correct? What if I've got that wrong? That was a
Yeah.
little bit stupid to say, wasn't it? So I'd start to filter myself and then just started not speaking very much at all. I'd just observe, which is not who I'm designed to be at all. So I can't remember where I was going with this, other than the fact that we all have these layers of differentiation, these gifts that we're here to share, and coming into ownership of those gifts is recognizing it. So when I had my human design reading, I was like, holy moly, I have been so ashamed of my love for science and reading and research for so many years that I've never really fully
Yeah.
allowed myself to express it, to go into it, and to be the sharer of those things that I've learned. It shifted the entire trajectory of my business. I remember just taking this to business when I used to host my first masterclasses. As you can probably guess by now, they were long, sometimes up to like 2 hours. And one of my best friends used to say, I love you, but you really need to these should be shorter. So I did. I started stripping every masterclass back to 30 minutes to an hour. And I'd get to an hour and I'd apologize. I'd say, I'm so sorry I've kept you so long. I've just got a couple more things to share and then I'll make sure we get off. And I'd never feel like the transmission was complete. I never felt like I'd done it. Now I'm a generator. I'm born to respond, but there is also in the sacral center this generative force that needs to be used in a satisfying way. It has to be used in full each day, completely for the generator to experience their signature theme. The signature theme is satisfaction. So I started feeling really frustrated, not only self-conscious, but then frustrated during my masterclasses was it was like it just didn't feel like it was it. I didn't feel like I'd done it, what I set out to do, because I hadn't essentially. The energy had not been used up. And when I found my human design, I was like, well, no wonder I'm so frustrated with what
Makes
I'm doing.
complete
And back
sense.
to my lives don't have a time frame on them now. I never say I'm going to be live for an hour. It starts at this time and it goes on until the transmission's complete.
Yeah.
Stay for as long as you want, but I am here for the journey. Those taking back ownership,
That's very interesting.
it's taking back ownership over you and being like, this is who
So,
I am.
so really then, so actually I know you set off saying that it's not about your design's not about what you should be doing as a career and what have you, but actually if you know what your design is, then naturally you will go into a field where you are going to be really quite good at it, aren't you?
Absolutely. If you can own it, the thing is that when you're when you own your design, when you fully take sovereignty over it and you live from it, and that's an inward out process, you've got to feel it and experience within you first, and then you have to allow it to be self-expressed through the throat center. Energy is coming through the head center and through the root center, and it's looking for the path of least resistance to move through your body and to be expressed out of the throat center. So when we are living in our highest expression of all we were designed to be, you think of that energy field around you, it expands. It literally
Gets
expands.
bigger, yeah.
It's bigger, it gets wider, and that is felt by everyone around you. So it's not just that you will be directed and naturally fall into a career that is aligned for you. It's also that the opportunities that are aligned for you will start to be magnetized towards you because people will feel you for who you really are and truly are.
Yeah.
And things will come to you so quickly. Like I never like to say, if you embody your human design, you're going to manifest your wildest dreams and your biggest
No.
life because ultimately, most people, and this is what I found very recently, if a beautiful lady, you can go and find this video testimonial. It's on my Instagram feed, it's on my Facebook feed. She came to do a reading with me, and she at the time was running a online well-being business. She was trying to get it off the ground. She'd been doing it for several years. She'd not really made many sales, a few here or there, wondering if she should continue with it. And essentially, like on the call, she started speaking about her poetry, something that she does just for herself. Never shared it with anybody, but it's been her greatest healing tool. And the shift in her auric field, like I could feel it from the other side of the screen. I'm on Zoom and I can still feel her, the change in her energy, the change in her body. Like she just expanded and opened up. Now, it's not my job to tell you, yes, you are a poet. You need to go and publish that. You need to go and share it with
No.
That's not for me to do. So I just tapped her in. I started asking her questions and I started saying, can you feel the difference in your body when you speak about your poetry versus when you speak about this? Can you feel that? Can you sense that? Absolutely, of course she could. And then we look at her design and we look at her life's purpose. We looked at her Mercury gate, which is her gate of communication. And it was like everything lined up. The things that she writes poetry about are literally written into her design. The things that, like the creativity aspect of it was written into her design. And she was like, in her testimonial, she talks about how she just knew. She just knew from hearing who she was designed to be, that this part of her expression that she'd been holding back was ready. Like it's now, it's time to be released. It's time for me to share that. This is the thing. And I don't know, to be able to have that amount of confidence in yourself,
That's it. That's amazing, isn't it?
yeah, blows my mind every time. And I'm doing it every day and it just blows my mind every time. It's beautiful.
I love this. I feel like I need mine doing.
Come.
So, just going back though, right? Interestingly, when you said that, it brought a memory back to me. Now, when I were at school, when you were saying about reading, my dad didn't. I mean, he could read everything. He used to read paper, but not books. Right? My mum used to read books. My sister loves it. I hate reading. I mean, it's one of them things. And then when you said actually, I used to skip 3 lines and go back. I remember doing that. And then I remember in English, we had one teacher. I didn't particularly like the man, but he used to have you all standing up and reading. Well, some people were fluent readers. They were all like, da, 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 da. And I remember standing with this book going, and I used to add words in that weren't there. Yeah. And then I used to miss words. And at one point, he went to me, well, like, is there something wrong with you? Do you need glasses? What's up with you? Why can't you just read it? And I remember like, oh, and then every time we went into English lesson, I used to think, oh, please don't make us read out loud. Please don't make us read out, because I hated it and I could not get my head around it. There were a point to me saying this, but I feel like I've just gone on a bashing now. I'm an English teacher. But the whole thing of it. But it's interesting that one, like you've had the same experience, but so we might have some parts very similar, because some of the things you were saying, I was like, yeah, but I did that. Yeah, I will like that. But actually, like you say, we've had 2 totally different experiences around the similar sort of thing.
Yes.
But one will lead you to thoroughly enjoy the reading, and I've gone, absolutely not, thank you. Isn't that odd?
Well, there's also, so we're talking about an experience in a situation that could be similar. We could have been in, we weren't, but we could have been in the same classroom and had the same teacher, the same experience, the same kind of things thrown at us. And we are likely defined in very different places with different gates and different energies. So again, even in our definition, my love for reading, I would have said to anybody, even 10, 15 years ago, if you'd asked me, are you an academic type? Do you like to learn? I would have been like, no. And at the same time, behind that, if I'd thought a little bit deeper to that question, I would have been like, well, I do like to learn in the right circumstances. If it's self-led, if it's this way, if it's that way, if it's about this, I've got no interest in learning about politics. I've got no interest in learning about this. But if you give me this, hell yes, I want more.
Yeah.
And so that again adds this layer of nuance. As a generator, I'm here to follow what lights me up and what excites me. I'm here to not just Gate 62 is my life's purpose, but it's not anything and everything I'm here to research. So somebody else can have a gate 62 in their life's purpose. They could also be a scientist, or an archetype of the scientist in their life's purpose. But their field is going to come from their type, strategy, and authority. So my field, I've been led into my field through my sacral yes and through my excitement and through that interest. Their field could be wildly different. It could be equestrian horses or something along
Yeah,
those
yeah.
fields. So the fact that you have had similar experience, yet you are designed differently, will also
Mm,
impact what gets sparked on you later on, because as you move through the rest of your life, there are going to be other influences and other sparks. And it may
yeah.
simply be actually that reading's just simply not that important to you. And
That's it. It's just not important. Yeah. How interesting. So, how does this come about then? So, one day you're doing your hypnotherapy, you're doing your emotional work. Where does human design come across one day and you go, well, actually, that's for me. Thanks ever so much. And I'm going to master it.
it was actually like a complete contrast experience. When I first found human design, I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
For it.
Makes no sense whatsoever. So, a beautiful soul named Claire, who used to be my virtual assistant, and she did a lot of lead generation and things for my business, actually had another client called Shari Thompson. And she said, you have to listen to Shari. I think you'll really like Shari, and just go and watch one of her lives. And I went and watched one of her live videos. She was talking about human design, and I was just, honestly, I think I tuned out after about 20, 30 minutes and was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
No idea. And yet at the same time, there was something about Shari's presence. I absolutely love her. She's such a beautiful soul. Whilst I didn't resonate with anything she was talking about at all, not even for a minute. I couldn't wrap my head around a single word she said. May have something to do with the fact that I jumped in about 10 minutes after she started, so I didn't really know what she was talking about. And then was so confused that I was like, I'll just not for me, a world of other things. But Shari herself, her presence, her magnetism was out of this world. And I continued just to follow her, talk to her, interact with her. And the longer I followed her, obviously, the more snippets I got of this human design stuff, and eventually downloaded my own chart and was like, no, I get a little bit of what this means based on what she's written here. I'm curious. Now I'm just curious because I don't get it.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like going back to actually that experience of reading. I've got to go back again. I don't really
Yeah.
understand it. I've got to go back again to get more. And then I don't know if I had a reading with Shari first. I can't remember. We did something together. I purchased something from her and went through this one-to-one call with her. And she was tapping me into my design and facets of my design. And it was that moment where I just went, holy crap. All of the parts of myself that I disliked, how
Yeah.
sensitive I am in my relationships. This was one of the biggest things. So I'm a four line. My entire business is built on relationships. The quality of the people that I know and connect with and the relationship we have is so much more important to me than the quantity. So people were, when I came, I started my business, first business in 2014. I took a break after my divorce and then I reopened a new business in 2020. So yeah, 2020, end of 2020. And where was I going? How did I get into human design? This was it. God,
Yeah.
thought trail.
So, you were saying you'd had a reading
Oh, had it. So
and
yeah,
then
this
you,
is it. Came into my
yeah.
business in 2020, and at the time, obviously, we then went through the COVID period, and then there was lots of online businesses booming
Yes.
out of nowhere, and so the whole industry was changing quite rapidly at a really quick pace, and there was lots of talk at that time, and as I was restarting my business, of growing a large social media audience, making sure that you've got thousands of people following you, and the more views
Yeah.
you've got, the more successful you're going to be, and the more engagement you get, the more successful you're going to be. And so there was a lot of pressure on creating this epic content that catches people's eyes. And I'm not a visual person. I like to look at pretty things. I'm not a creator of pretty things. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
It's not what I do. And I never have been. My brother's the artist. Like, he's amazing. He did all of my branding, by the way. Hats off to him. including
Oh,
it's just not me. I don't know how to do that. But I thought I needed to, and I thought I had to be. So here's me trying to get thousands of people to like me and learning that I'm a four line and why that's never really worked for me because most of my sales come through people that I know. They come through word of mouth. Most of my opportunities and connections and things like this podcast come because somebody
yeah,
knows me and hasn't had an experience with me, refers me out elsewhere. And so
that's it.
there was this mind-blowing moment of like all of this stuff that I'm doing, and I gave a talk about this yesterday. 80% of what I was doing in my business wasn't generating results. It was keeping me busy. It was keeping me exhausted, burnt out. It was frustrating, so frustrating. And the 20% that was generating income into my business was getting very little attention, which was my relationships and my networking and my podcasting and the talking. And it
Yeah.
wasn't getting as much attention because I was busy doing all of this social media stuff
All
over
your other
here.
stuff.
And when I realized that, it's not that I stopped doing social media. I started doing social media in my way. I stopped trying to chase leads and likes. I no longer care how many people engage on a post or comment. Like I'm there just to serve my existing audience, the people who already know me, and give them what they need and give them what's going to help them and support them. And it just changed. Everything started to come from that heart. Four line is the opportunist. It is deeply connected to our heart chakra. It is deeply connected to the essence of love, service, and authenticity in our connections and our relationships.
Mm.
And so my social media became more about that connection than it did about showing off, chasing people, creating pretty things. It's just me. It's just me showing up as I am.
Yeah.
And then it just took so much pressure off. I don't spend a lot of time on social media anymore. And that 20% that was actually driving revenue in my business is where I was able to pour my energy, my time, and attention and amplify that. And so, uh, just as an example, yesterday I went to a networking event. There were just over 40 tickets sold. I was doing a talk on human design, and I got home, and one of the things that I asked people to do was fill out their birth information and get their human design chart, which is part of one of my funnel sequences into my business. And there were 66 people. Sorry, there were 40 odd people at the event. And I got back and there were 66 people that during those hours of that event had input their details to get their chart. I was like, this isn't mathing. This doesn't add up. There was this many people at the event. Where did these other people come from? I'm going to take it, loving it. And then I've had lots of conversations with people that I met yesterday. It's been really beautiful. And several of them have said, I've shared the link with my friend. I ran my husband's
Yeah.
chart as well. I shared it with this person. I've already shared it with my group and my network. And I was like, oh, that's where the other
That's
66
the
came from.
extras. Yeah.
And so not everybody is a four line, and not everybody is going to either gain their opportunities or their business through word of mouth or referrals, and that's perfectly okay. But for me, that's where the gold is. And it's where I have the most fun. It's where I'm in my element.
Mm.
So not only does business get to be profitable, which is great, but I also get to feel really good. I get to have fun.
That's it.
Like, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? So yeah.
That's it. And then you never actually work a day, do you? You never actually work because what you're doing is enjoyable and it's what you're supposed to be doing.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there are still so I think when people get to their start embodying their human design and they have all of these gorgeous sort of expansions in their life, and then something happens, like an event happens. For example, we put my children back into school, and then my eldest really like has struggled he's got autism, so he's struggled emotionally with going in, and that took like a huge toll on me because taking him into school every morning was like
Yeah.
running a marathon. By the time I got home,
Yeah.
I've got to start work, I've got client calls on, uh, right? So
Yeah.
our life impacts our business as well. But it can lead you to wondering when those events happen, you can either come back to saying, just because something bad outside has happened doesn't mean that I'm out of alignment with who I was designed to be. I think we have this idea or this vision that there is a way to get beyond the human experience, which is an experience of contrast. We are not designed to have these glorious lives that nothing ever goes wrong and it's
No.
always perfect and everything's just because I'm aligned with who I was designed to be, that the outside world is suddenly shifted and changed forever more. And it
Yeah, and then nothing bad ever happens, and that, everything just from here on out just goes on swimmingly, and it's all rainbows and butterflies. It just isn't.
It isn't. And so people, and often people say something like, oh, let's talk about launching because I'm here for business owners as well. So people launch a product, they were all in, it's fully aligned for them. They know that at a soul level, like they've worked on that and they were so excited about it. And then for whatever reason, the launch didn't go as planned. They didn't quite get as many new people into their offer, product, or service as they thought they would. And they go, maybe it wasn't aligned after all. And they start to doubt themselves. The little voice of doubt
Mm.
creeps in. Maybe I don't. Maybe I misread my body. Maybe I didn't really understand that. And they start to go into this doubt phase. And then maybe it wasn't, maybe I'm not aligned. Or maybe there is a part of you that wasn't quite ready to hold that expansion, or there was something that you needed to learn in this launch. And if we are honest with ourselves, is that fear and doubt speaking, or is that your type strategy and authority, your actual body wisdom? Is that mind telling you that, or is it actually your body wisdom telling you that? And if you check in with your body, what's true for you now? If you check in with your head, what's true for you now? Where is that coming from?
Yeah.
And most people go back to their body and they're like, well, it still feels really exciting. It still feels really aligned. It still feels like the right thing. But my mind is telling me, but the results aren't showing it yet. And one of the things on this journey of embodiment is actually being able to trust that feeling in here versus your societal conditioning and your paradigm or conditional life conditioning.
Mm.
And to be able to, okay, I'm going to continue to move with the alignment and I'm going to learn whatever I needed to learn on this part of the journey. And I'm going to continue to trust that and ground in that. And we go again until it's no longer aligned for us, but not based on mind, based on body.
Mm.
And that's the hardest journey, is the journey of trust, because we think that there is some timeline, like it will happen by this point, and if it hasn't happened by this point, there must be something wrong. But the universe, energy is not working on your time frames and your time scales. There is so much that
On its own.
it is.
Yeah.
There is, and it's working with us and independently of us and with us and independently of us all at the same time. It's never this and that, right? It's this and that, both
Yeah.
exist at the same time. And divine, like, so for me, I am a defined root center. One of the things that I'm very well known for by my clients is grounding them when they're all up in the air, because I have this belief, this solid belief that everything that my soul desires is meant for me. It is meant for me. There is only trust. And in my gates of my root center, one of my gates is this beautiful gate of what we call imagination, anticipation. It's the being able to see that, imagine that future reality, the quantum realm, the other timeline that we want to be on. And rather than being in the, this isn't happening, it's not here yet, in the contrasting experience, being able to be in the delicious anticipation. You know, when you place an order, like you go to Amazon, you order, you put loads of stuff in your cart, you press the checkout button, and it says the delivery is coming on this date. You know it's coming. So you don't keep checking back with Amazon. You don't
Yeah.
keep making sure. You don't keep questioning, or maybe it won't arrive on time, or what if it's not going to get here? You know, you just know it's coming, and you get excited about it. And if it's something you really want, you get
Yeah.
really excited about it, and you're like, when's it coming? When's it coming? I know it's coming. I can't wait. There's no doubt in your mind it's coming to you at some point. It's just when.
It's just going to get there when it gets there.
It's going to get there when it gets there, and it's on its way to you. And that's kind of what I think the alignment journey, when it comes to manifestation and bringing things into reality, is kind of like. It's like, it's coming. You know it's coming. It's yours. It's already ordered. It's on its way. Can
Yeah.
you be in the trust zone? And it's going to be this as you imagined it, or something even better. And you cannot foretell what that something even better may be for you.
Mm.
I didn't imagine back in 2019 that after 7 years of marriage, I discover that all of these horrible things about my marriage, and discover all of the things that I did that led to me getting separated and divorced and then leaving my home and my community. I couldn't have imagined. And even when I was in that, no way on earth could I see how this could possibly be good for me.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing at that time in this is the most horrendous thing that's ever happened to me in my lifetime. It's also, in hindsight, best
The best thing that's
thing
ever happened.
that's ever happened to me. So again, I've gone on a rabbit trail, so I'll pull back, Stacey, but
Fine.
just
No, no,
leaving that
it's
golden
fine.
nugget
Honestly,
there.
I'm not enjoying it, mate. I could just be with my cup of tea. Bring me a sandwich. It's all good. Now, can I just ask though, right? So when I went to we had Penny Dix on, fantastic astrology lady, and she did my moon chart and what have you. Now, I don't know what time I was born.
Okay. Yeah.
So is that like a massive thing? Some people don't know. Both my parents have passed. It don't tell me on my birth certificate. How do I find out?
Yeah, loads of people ask this, and this is a big thing yesterday. We had quite a few of these. So yes, it matters. I'd love to be able to stand here and say, no, we can just pick a time, we can go with
Yeah.
midday, it'll be fine, but it won't. So, and I say that loosely, in any given 24-hour period, at least three gates will change on a human design chart. I'm wondering if are you okay? I know people won't see this on Spotify, but just so that I can explain something to you, are you okay if I share my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just I'll share this
Do I
one.
need to do it? Because I'm not technology. I'm not the tech whiz.
Let me
I don't know
see
if
if
the tech's in one of my gates or not.
I'll see if I've got access. It might ask you to grant access. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Now, let me just tell you this. Because you've brought up there, obviously, for everybody that can't see, you brought up there the chart. Now, strangely enough, I have done this chart
Ooh,
online.
yes.
Now, that was going to lead me on to my next question, as in, we'll go back to time in a minute, but do you, can you look at somebody or spend some time with somebody and go, do you know what? I feel like she might be this, she might be other. Do you do that?
Yes, a lot
Yeah,
of the time. And
yeah,
sometimes I get it wrong.
yeah,
So it's not like there are traits and characteristics and energies that I pick up
yeah.
now. And I'm like, oh,
That's it.
it's got to be a manager and it's got to be a projector. And sometimes I can be incorrect because obviously I'm human and I can be incorrect. That's a given. But also, for example, you could have a we'll give an example, a projector. They're designed to wait for the invitation. They do not have access to the sacral center, which is this consistent, sustainable energy. They tend to need a lot more rest. You can have a projector that is actually very bubbly, very active, seems to be on the go all the time, is always creating things, and you're like, oh, the sacral. You've got to be a generator or a manager, like all of this creativity, all of this passion, all of this activity. And so I'm feeling generator vibes. And there could be a couple of reasons for that. First of all, they could be operating from the not self, from their conditioning versus who they're designed to be. So they're actually pushing themselves to be more active. They're pushing themselves to be more creative when ultimately that's not the best for them. And you'll tend to be able to see that in people because although they will be active and they will be keep going, creating, and then they'll have these massive crashes and burns and you won't see them for 3, 4 weeks because they're in burnout mode and they can't socialize anymore and they've got nothing left to give. And then they come back out and they're as if they always were back into their zone of doing again. However,
So tell me again, sorry, what were that one you were just saying then? Which
projector.
type's that? That's a projector. Hmm. I'm just looking at my chart as we're speaking because that sounds like me a little bit, but it's not in my finger.
Cue me into your design. What design type are you, Stacey?
So I've got here, right. So I've got type, I've got a generator.
Mhm.
My strategy is to respond.
Yeah.
My inner authority is sacral.
Okay.
Definition is split definition.
Can you tell me about your root center? Is it colored in defined or is it undefined, not colored in?
Oh, I don't know. It's not cut. There's no color to it.
No color to it on the bottom. Um, Looks like it's defined, your root center. So you've got a defined root center. Okay. And the part that was connecting with you, resonating with you, was the fact that like you'll go, 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 and then burn out. Was that correct?
And then my back goes, and then I'm out.
Yeah. Okay. So this is usually a result of you have a defined root center. The root center is the pulse to action as well as your grounding. It's like that pulse to go. Now, with a defined root center, we both are naturally going to be people that don't like to sit down very much. Not as in we don't like
Yeah,
to, we do, but there's always something to do. There's always something to go. So even
yeah,
when we're sitting down, we're doing something. We don't manage to sit
yeah,
very long. And it's because we are literally like primed for action. We're primed, we're ready to go. And at the same time, as a generator, you're designed to decide where to put your energy based on that sacral response. So your generative energy, the go, go, go creation energy, I can do this, I can build that. You have the capacity consistently to be able to create, build, move, go, do. This is the generator's
yeah.
battery pack. And at the same time, that regenerative force will only be a regenerative force if it has been used correctly for the correct things. In other words, you're responding to what lights you up. You're waiting to respond. That's what the wait to respond is. So I'm waiting for the world to deliver something to me to respond to. You have that hell yes, all in, full body has to be in it, right? It's not just a, that could be good. It's like my full body has to be.
No.
That's when I know to move, to go in. Now, what most of us are experiencing is the pressure from the root center to do and not knowing where to put it. So we do what is busy work for the sake of being busy. In other words, there's this podcast episode that needs recording, and then that needs editing, and then this has got to be done, and then that's got to be done, and then my friend asked me to do this, and my mum asked me to do that, and the dogs need me to do this, and right. So it's all of the things that are expectations, the musts, the shoulds, we think have to get done, the to-do lists. We start putting our energy just anywhere and everywhere.
That is me all over this. That is just actually, I mean, I write a list and I knock one thing off my list and add three to it and then I have to go do something else.
Yeah, right. And this is not how we were designed to move. We do have the energy to do lots. Generators in alignment will do, especially with a defined root center, we will be active beings, active people. But it's so important that we are placing that energy at the right time, in the right place, on the right thing. Because if we are misusing that energy, essentially your auric field will start to decrease, and that's your energetic capacity. As soon as our auric field starts to contract, we start to feel that physically in our bodies as burnout, fatigue, exhaustion. Secondly, I feel like I'm giving you a bit of a read in here, but there is another thing that is unique to the generators, which is known as plateau. The generators, we're here for mastery of our specific field.
Yeah.
For mastery. And so as a generator, you are here you'll get to a certain peak of your mastery. You'll go all in on the thing that the sacral said hell yes to. And you'll get that thing to a stage of completion. Now, that might be an energetic completion, or that might be actual project completion, but all of your energy has been used on that thing. It comes, we're satisfied. And then guess what we're doing? Waiting to respond for the next thing that gives us that spark. We're going to go all in him. Now, in that waiting period, it can feel like nothing's happening. It can feel like there's nowhere to go. We start to get a little bit frustrated, but we also start to flatline. Our energy flatlines because there's been nothing that's activated sacral. The energy isn't there available to us to go. So if we're in alignment, we wait. We enjoy life. We do the things that bring us some joy. We go for those walks. We move our body. We speak to some friends. We just life. We live life and be fully present with it. Because sacral responds moment to moment. It doesn't talk to us in the past. It doesn't talk to us in the future. It's in the now. This is a yes for me now. And what's aligned for me now may not be aligned for me in 4 weeks' time, and that's perfectly okay. It's in the now. And so we want to be involved in life as much as possible, having fun, not doing tasks, having fun. And as we move through the world in that way, we'll have more things to respond to, and you'll have your next response and you go all in. Now, sometimes we reach this plateau, and that plateau is the plateau of mastery. This is integration time. It's where we're not here to do anything. We're not here to build anything else or to create anything else. It's literally time for us to be with what it is that we've created so far, what it is we've learnt so far in that creation process, and just to integrate it. And so it can feel sometimes a little bit like a cycle of depression or a little bit of cycle of burnout. But the difference is it usually comes with this very like flat, I've got no interest in anything. All of the things that lit me up don't light me up anymore. Nothing I used to enjoy doing is enjoyable for me now. And people try to fight it. Try to fight it. So you give you, I've got to get up. I've got to do this. I've got to go. I can't be this person. And the longer you fight it for, the more your auric field contracts for, the more exhausted you get until your body literally says, well, tough. Here's a cold. Here's
You
something.
know, I can't tell you how much that is me all over. I can't even start to like, I'm sat here going, well, that's you. I do this where I do, you know, if you're not if you're not working, but I'm very work oriented. So I like to achieve. I like to know that I've got this done, that's done, others done. It's all, or I'm working towards something.
Yeah.
And that when I sit with Spirit and whenever I have readings or at my development groups, whenever anybody gives me any sort of reading, Spirit will say to me just about every time, you need to pull back a bit and just rest. And you need to live in this present moment. Well, I'm like, yeah, but I'm here, so I'm living in it. So what we're going to do next? And it's not. That is one of the biggest things that is a thing in my life, that just be here and now. But I'm always looking for, yeah, but do you know what I'm not doing out here? I could be just
Mm-hmm.
researching that. I could be seeing that. I could be putting that in place. And I find myself with it. I do it myself. I do it to myself.
Yeah. And so a lot of people then say, well, what do I do about that? Because I can see it.
Yeah.
And this is where the answer that I give, most people don't like. Or most
Well,
people don't want to hear. They want the magic pill. We want the thing that's just going to make the switch go. There isn't one.
no,
With
you just stop doing it.
with your awareness, and it's the repetition. With your awareness comes intentional action. I'm going to start to notice every time I'm pushing without actually pushing from response. Every time I'm going without going from response, and I'm going to notice it, I'm going to acknowledge it, and then I'm going to redirect. No one's in alignment all of the time. I don't know
No.
if it's even humanly possible, but it is possible for us to course direct. And so notice it. Just be aware of it. Bring awareness to it first. Now I'm going to intentionally, do I want to continue going this way, knowing the result that it brings me? Yes or no? Do I want to continue going this way, knowing the result it brings me? Yes or no? It's a choice. It's all a choice. This is where you get your sovereignty back, when you realize it's your choice.
Mm.
No, I don't want to continue going this way, knowing where it gets me. Okay. So what are we going to do instead? Stop.
Mm.
Yesterday I did it. I was in the kitchen and it'd been a long day. I'd been networking in the morning. Then I decided to pick the children up and take them to the park for a few hours. We met my mum. I came home. There was a cook-off with a membership that I'm a part of that I was going to go and join in. And I sat down in the kitchen just before I was about to cook dinner for the children. And I was like, oh, I've got to wash up. Ugh, I'm gonna wash up. I don't want to. And I'm tired and I'm exhausted. But children need to be fed. Everyone needs to be fed. This has to be done. Does it have to be done right now? Like I've just walked in the house.
Mm.
I haven't even had a cup of coffee. I've not had a drink. I've not sat down for 5 minutes. Does it have to be right now? No. Am I going to feel exhausted if I don't just rest? Yes.
Mm.
So I sat down and I grabbed a cup of coffee and I sat there and I said to the children, we'll do dinner, just not yet.
I get it. I get that totally.
And I waited and I waited.
Mm.
And I was like, actually, this is getting really late now. I should go. No, because that's time pressure. That's time pressure. And I waited. And I think the cat meowed for food or something. And I got up for the cat. And then I was like, okay, kitchen. Let's do the kitchen. And I was there and I was in it and I was happy and I was vibing and I've got some music on whilst I cook and I'm in my zone. I don't think I think we don't trust that things will
Mm.
get done if we wait to respond.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I just want to very quickly, if it's okay with you, Stacey, go back to your time question because
Time, yes.
lots of people have
Yes.
that. So it is important. There will be changes throughout a 24-hour period. Now, why I brought up the chart was, let's just say, for example, in if I chose a different time of day for my birth chart
Yeah.
and gate 6 was the thing that became activated,
Yeah.
that got activated, I would now suddenly have this complete channel from 59 to 6, which would actually activate my sacral center. And that would make me an emotional authority instead of a sacral authority. This would change my entire decision-making process.
Okay.
Or what if it was gate 53 here? What if gate 53 was no longer activated? That would cut off this channel from root to sacral. And it would mean I wouldn't have a defined root center anymore. And that would change nuances. Or gate 42. Let's say gate 42 was deactivated, it wasn't activated. That would mean
Yeah.
I wasn't a sacral being anymore. I wouldn't be a generator anymore. My entire design type would change.
Right.
Change within a 2-hour-ish window.
2 hours. That's specific, innit?
And within that window somewhere. So it could change within that. So it is the time is very important. So if you do not know your birth time, the first thing
Yeah.
you can ask as many people that know you as possible, that would have known you as a babe, would have known your family, get as close as you possibly can.
Yeah.
You can give us, like, we know it was morning between this time and that time, then we can run a few charts in between those times, look at the differences.
Yeah.
And
See which is more representative of you.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you're like, I can't get anywhere near, I don't have a clue whether it's AM, PM, I know absolutely nothing. Then again, at the same time, what we can do is we can run 13 different charts minimum. There's a lot of charts to go through, and we start to eliminate them one by one. Again, this isn't going to be necessarily the most accurate way because we're dealing with you telling us stories and answering questions based on your perspective of your life.
Yeah.
And you'll see that on this side of your chart, all of these energies on this side of your chart, your design side of your chart, are largely unconscious. It's often referred to as the unconscious side of your chart. It's where you might hear something in here about this energy and go, I don't really resonate with that. I don't really feel that. And then you ask a family member and they go, oh my gosh, Stacey, do you remember when you
That
did?
is you.
You're like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, that is me. Mirror
Yeah.
time. So we can have that experience as well. So that process, although it will help us to get closer, and if the changes are small enough, until you start going deeper and deeper into your design, probably won't matter that much in terms of your embodiment.
Mm.
And we still have to always have that awareness of it could not be.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there are other things you can do. So you can contact the registry office. They should have access to your birth time. If the
Do they?
if the registry office doesn't, then you will contact the hospital that you were born at, and you can request your medical records.
Will it be on your medical records? Well, of course it will, won't it? Yeah, of course it will. You
It-
can't do it from doctors, though. You have to do it to your hospital, do you?
I think you have to do it from your hospital. And it can't be like, the hospital in your local area. It literally has to be the hospital that you were born at.
You were
Because
born. Yeah.
although our medical records are now digitized and all of those
Yeah.
things, depending on how far back that was, I don't I don't personally know
No.
how much each
No.
hospital will have of your previous records. I have no idea. But I do know that if you contact the hospital that you were born at, you can request it from
Do you know
them.
what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to see. I want to see if I can get it.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
Because I want my right one of this, and I want my right because my right moon chart. Now, according to this, then according to the one that I did, obviously not knowing the exact time I was born,
Yeah.
basically, my actual design date, so the months beforehand, was the 3rd of October.
Interesting.
Well, October and December are like my favouriteest times of the year, so that'll make sense, won't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it would.
Oh, I
Definitely.
love it. I love this. I've got my channels and my gates and everything here.
And we have to remember
Oh,
just on that note as well, because we're moving through. So you are who you are, and at the same time, the planet's consistently moving around us as well. So every single day, you
yeah,
can actually have a look at the current planetary alignment and you can have a look at what's being activated. So just talking about October, for example, there may be also a specific day in October. It won't be date, it'll be a specific day in October where you just have this really great day, or you have this certain energy that you love, or there's a certain vibe that you get during that period of time. And the chances are there may also be an activation present that maybe completes a certain channel. Because where we
yeah,
have, you see your channels that have got like half a channel, so they're not complete channels all the way through. This is what's known as a hanging gate. And the hanging gate is seeking the energy of the other side. It's seeking that which it does not yet have access to. It's trying to reach the other side, the other center. So when we move through a transit and you've got your hanging gate, trying to like depict this, hanging gate going to here, and then this gate over here is now activated by that transit. You've now, for this period of time, whilst that's activated, got access to this full channel. And so you have this
yeah,
different energy that runs through you and it feels really good. And so, and that's going to happen around the same time-ish each year as we go
yeah.
through the cycle. So that's also really fun to pay attention to over the years. But of course, that's a longer game. That's something that you're going to get awareness over a longer period of time.
How exciting. So, Amber, if anybody says, do you know what? I want to get in touch with Amber. I want to look at my human design. I want to use it for coaching or what have you. How do they get in touch with you?
Best thing for you to do is to email me at info@ambercherelle.com and you can ask for whatever it is you want to receive and I will point you in the right direction. Or you can just pop over to the website, which I'm sure I can give Stacey the link and we can pop that below the
Yeah.
video. Um, but head over to the website. Everything I do is on the website. So if you're a reader and you like to digest before you make decisions, please pop over there and have a read. And you can follow me on my socials. So I'm on Facebook and Instagram, primarily, mostly. And I share everything that I'm up to, what I've got available, what spaces I've got open, all of those things on my Facebook and Instagram, and also lots of little tidbits and wisdom. So if you're looking for a little like, what does it mean to be a generator kind of vibe, you'll find that all over there
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, perfect. Oh, thank you so much for being on it, Amber. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun. I've so many rabbit trails, but I love it. That's it. It's the best thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Speak to you soon.
Bye for now.
Bye.